What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Exertion Sports. My name's Cody.
And I'm Myles.
And today we're going to be going over first our Week 1 total and then our Week 2 NFL predictions.
Yep, so Week 1, I went 7, 8, and 1.
And I went 11, 4, and 1.
Let's see how Week 2 is looking like. All right, guys. On Thursday night, we have the matchup that I'll definitely be watching, and many of you will be. Tampa Bay visiting Carolina. So I'm excited to see this.
Me too. I'm picking Carolina. I think Carolina, they lost last week, but it was a close game, and I really think that Carolina showed that they're here to play this season, and I think that they're gonna get them a win.
I agree with that as well. I think Carolina will win. There was just a lot of complications Week 1 with the Panthers. Mostly being DJ Moore fumbling. And Cam he admitted he was a little rusty. He still looked good, though. He didn't hardly even run very often. So it looks like he's developing into being the pocket passer. So it looks pretty good, and I'm excited for the season still.
Yeah, and one thing I did notice is Cam looks good on his throws. Last season, towards the end, he wasn't able to throw much farther than 10 yards, and he definitely did better, so we're glad to see that.
For sure.
Moving on to the next game, it's one of our Sunday games. It's going to be the Dallas Cowboys at the Washington Redskins.
Yes, and this is one we're going to disagree with.
One of the few.
One of the few, yeah. So I think that Washington will win this. They looked good early last week against Philadelphia. I think the Cowboys are a good team, but the division rivalry, Washington at home, it just makes sense to me to go ahead and pick Washington. I think Case Keenum looked good last week. I think it rolls into the next week.
And I definitely agree. I think that Washington did look good, especially, I believe on the road, if I'm not mistaken. So they were good, but I have to pick my Cowboys in this game. I think that Dak looked great last week. I know that they were playing the Giants, but still, he was on point. He's got a lot of weapons to choose from. Plus, they've got Zeke back. And after watching last week's game, that just feels like a bonus at this point because without Zeke, I think they still would have won that game. Yeah. Now, to be fair to the Redskins, they're better than the Giants. So we'll see how that goes for sure. But I'm sticking with Dallas.
All right, and then moving on to our third matchup here, we have the Indianapolis Colts going to play the Tennessee Titans.
This is a hard one for me to pick. I'm going to have to go with Tennessee. And it's for the same reason I went against the Colts last week, Andrew Luck. I will say they're looking good, but I'm going to pick Tennessee just to be safe.
I'm going to have to agree with him on this one. I think Indianapolis has a chance of winning this one, though. Tennessee looked great last week against the Browns. The hype on the Browns, good luck for me picking the Browns again after that awful week. But but it looks like the Browns are back. No, but the Colts looked really well. They took the Chargers on the road into overtime. So I think that was a great matchup there. I'm going to have to go with Tennessee this week, though. But don't be surprised if Indianapolis wins this game.
All right, our next Sunday game looks to be actually a good matchup. We're looking at Seattle versus Pittsburgh. What do you think on that one?
So I think that Seattle looked a little weak last week, but I think the Pittsburgh Steelers looked awful. But then again, they were playing the Patriots. I think the Patriots look even better than ever. I think they're probably going to go 16-0 this year.
The Patriots have a way about making you look bad, though. So
yeah, I agree. But Pittsburgh, they didn't have an answer. Like we thought, okay, so Juju Smith-Schuster will pick up and do that, and he didn't do a whole lot. And they had the back didn't do a whole lot there because I had him as fantasy and didn't do anything for me. All right, fantasy was a rough week with him, but Seattle didn't look too good either. Unless the Bengals are just really good. Like, they almost got beat by the Bengals at home.
Yeah, that's fair, and that's the sole reason that I'm choosing Pittsburgh.
Yeah, and I picked Pittsburgh as well, so I think Pittsburgh will bounce back this week, but it's going to be a tough one. And moving on to our next matchup, we have the Buffalo Bills. They're going to be playing the New York Giants.
Well, after last week, I'm picking the Bills. The way that we dismantled New York, it's in a way that I don't even know if Dallas is good or not because that was our opener.
I picked the Bills as well. The Giants, I'm confused about the quarterback situation. They did put in their backup there, and I did get put out. So it was kind of a rough one. So the Bills beat the Jets, and I thought that they would have lost to the Jets. So kudos to the Bills on that one. So I'm going to go with the Bills this week, even though they are on the road playing at the Giants. I think the Bills win, and if they do, they're 2-0.
Yeah. Moving right along, we've got the New England Patriots versus the Miami Dolphins.
Lock of the week.
All right, New England.
Easy. New England. I mean, there's nothing to say there. Miami's players were requesting trades after the game.
That is a dumpster fire of an organization.
I feel sorry for Miami fans. I mean, at this point,
I do too.
I don't know what you can do. I mean, the Patriots, and this is going to be Antonio Brown's first game, as of this second. We know of all the allegations with that, but at this moment, it looks like
pending allegations.
Pending allegations, yeah. Everybody's innocent until proven guilty. We'll just say that. That's our statement. But the Patriots, man, even without him, they look good last week. So
they don't even need him to beat Miami.
No, Gronk's going to come back and they're just going to win. So it doesn't. But no, yeah. New England's going to win by like 30 points. I'd be willing to say.
So our next game on Sunday is going to be the Jacksonville Jaguars versus the Houston Texans.
Yeah, so I think that this would have been more interesting if the events that occurred last week did not. Nick Foles is out for the year with a broken clavicle, something Cowboys fans are used to with Tony Romo. but no, I picked Texans here. The Texans should have beat New Orleans.
I agree.
It was just unfortunate for them. I mean, you really thought they did it. I understand, like, Drew Brees did very well there to get them in field goal range, but the Texans looked good on that football game.
I know I picked the Saints in our last pick to win that game, and I'm glad I did, but when I watched what I watched of that game,
yeah,
the Texans should have won that game.
It was a crazy game.
And I'll say this for you, Texans. I'm not a huge fan of the team or anything. I don't like or hate them. I'm pretty neutral. But you helped my fantasy team out a lot, so kudos to you for that.
Who you have? Deshaun Watson?
Yeah. And
Hopkins?
Yeah.
Wow, yeah, so he got a big help from that. But, yeah, watching that game was just – it was crazy. The Texans looked good. I think if the Texans are at home or even on a neutral field, they win that game. I just think that just the element of being in the Saints' home, that was the issue there. But, yep, Texans.
All the way. And then up next, we've got a good little rivalry going on. We've got the Minnesota Vikings versus the Green Bay Packers.
And this is a tougher matchup, but I think Green Bay's going to win this one. Green Bay looked good week one. They've had 10-ish days to recuperate because they had the Thursday night game, and they get to prepare for the Vikings in their home. It looks like they're in a good situation to go ahead and get this win. Kirk Cousins and them did win last week against the Falcons, so I think, though, that Green Bay's going to pull off the win here.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think that the factors, like you said, of Green Bay having so much healing time after the first game, plus now Rodgers is warmed up because he didn't really throw a snap in the preseason,
right.
So it took him a little while to get in this groove. You could definitely tell the second half of that game versus the first half of that game where Rodgers' mindset was. I will say the offense looked a little sloppy to me on both sides of that game, but the Packers' defense was on point.
Exactly. Yeah, their defense looks better. Their defense is better than their offense, it looks like.
And the Vikings, to me, seem kind of like a running team right now just because I don't feel like that they have faith in the quarterback.
I think if the Green Bay can establish a run game this year, then they're going to be very dangerous going into the playoffs with Aaron Rodgers and that defense. They're going to be built to win a Super Bowl this year if they have that. But, yeah, I think Green Bay handles Minnesota pretty easily.
Packers. And then we've got another game on Sunday. It's going to be the Chargers versus the Lions.
Yeah, so neither one of these teams has lost yet, but the Chargers won and the Lions tied. So the Chargers...
And the Lions tied with Arizona.
Yeah, and blew an 18-point lead in the fourth quarter. Lions aren't winning this game. Chargers are going to win this one on the road. The Lions, they blew an 18-point lead to a rookie quarterback's premiere in the NFL.
Yeah, I have to say that I just have to root for Rivers. I mean, I want him to do good coming from North Carolina. You know, I know I'm a state fan per se, but he's homegrown, so we want him to do well.
For sure. Chargers.
All right, our next game is going to be the San Francisco 49ers versus the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah, and I think this is another one that we disagree on. I picked the Bengals at home here. The one reasons I do pick the Bengals here is, I don't know if you watched the game. Andy Dalton, first off, leads the NFL in pass yards right now with like 415. I can't remember exactly the number, but they looked so good on the road against the Seahawks. They looked so good, and that wide receiver Ross got so many.
Yeah,
he looked great. I think that Cincinnati Bengals beat the Chargers. I mean the 49ers, and they're at home.
Yeah, I disagree with that. I definitely see where you're coming from, and there's some very valid points. I'm going to have to go with the 49ers, though, and here's why. First off, with Cincinnati, I still don't have a lot of faith in them. They did beat Seattle, but Seattle's a team that's rebuilding right now anyways. So that's kind of like with where I'm at with Dallas and the Giants. I don't really know how I feel about Dallas yet because we played the Giants for our first game. So it's the same thing with Cincinnati. I don't really know how to feel about them, but I do know that I'm feeling pretty good about the 49ers. They look like a good team that has a lot of potential. As long as Jimmy can keep himself healthy through this season.
Jimmy looked rough a little bit in week 1, I think, though. We'll see.
Yeah, he's coming back, though. You know what I mean? And I have a good feeling about this one. But either way, it should be a good game.
Yep.
On to our next game, which should be fun.
Yeah.
It's going to be the Cardinals versus the Ravens.
Yeah, so we'll see if Kyler Murray can do what he did last week. If you get behind the Baltimore Ravens, though, you're not winning this game. That's why I picked Baltimore. Baltimore is great. Okay, they put 59 points up. I don't care who you play. Okay, I don't care.
That's a lot of points.
That's a lot of points for an NFL team. That's not touched very often. And I mean, Lamar Jackson looked great.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see any issues that they have this week. They're at home this week. They were away last week and put up 59 points on the road.
Just think about how humid it was down there.
Yeah, this is Miami, and they're a team from the north. So they're not used to that heat, and they came into their home and beat them 59-10. Their defense looked great. The offense looked spectacular. Baltimore wins.
Absolutely.
So moving on, we've got another great matchup in the AFC West. Kansas City's going to be going on the road to the Raiders. Both teams are undefeated.
Yeah, I'm actually looking forward to this game. I mean, a lot of people are sleeping on the Raiders, and, I did pick the Chiefs to win this game, but I think it'll be a good game still.
Sure.
Oakland's looking a lot more organized. They're looking a lot more promising than they were last year, and that's a really good thing. I like to see that. I enjoy the guys out there like Derek Carr, and so I really want them to do well, but Patrick Mahomes, man. Patrick Mahomes is just...
Yeah, I can see some complications with that. Patrick Mahomes lost his target in Tyreek Hill.
True.
I don't know how long he's going to be out. Oakland looked, honestly, pretty good. We were worried about Antonio Brown being gone. Who's going to be that offensive player that's going to make an impact on the game? But they had a great week. I mean, they looked solid. They won the game against a great defense in the Broncos. They don't have necessarily the best offense, but they were able to put away the Broncos, which I think was a big testament, but I just think that the Kansas City Chiefs are going to be too much to handle. I don't think that's anything the Raiders can handle at this point. I think that they might keep it closer than some will expect, but I do expect Kansas City to go on the road here and go to 2-0.
Yeah, a good way to look at this, too, is when you look at two teams in a matchup and you think, wow, one of them has a very high potential to go to the Super Bowl, and the other one you think
is rebuilding,
but also if they were to go to the Super Bowl, it would blow your mind.
Oh, yeah.
So that kind of tells you where you're at on that.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm hopeful for you, Oakland, but I got to go with Kansas City. Up next, we've got the New Orleans Saints versus the Los Angeles Rams.
And I'm just going to be honest with you, New Orleans didn't look good. I mean, they were at home and they gave up a lot of points. They looked okay, but that defense didn't look. They couldn't stop hardly anything. Oh,
this is not the same New Orleans from last year.
And the Rams are no pushover. I mean, the Panthers found that out last week. They're no pushover, even though they were able to eliminate Aaron Donald. But I think that the Rams are going to win this one. I think they're going to win it pretty comfortably as well. I don't think New Orleans is actually going to be worth anything this year.
I'll say it again. They're not the same New Orleans they were last year. They just didn't seem that way. So unless they flip some kind of switch or do something crazy, you got to give it to the Rams.
Rams win, and they stay perfect.
Hey, here's one for you. Up next, we've got the Chicago Bears versus the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, so it looks like Denver is not as well on offense as I thought they would have been. I figure with Joe Flacco, they have that experienced quarterback who might be able to do some stuff. He didn't look too good against. And when you're playing the Raiders and you struggle, unfortunately, that's not looks too good for you. I think Denver is trying to find that offensive stride. but unfortunately they can't. It's also the Bears, who looked awful on offense as well. That defense looked pretty good, even though we talked about Green Bay's offense. It was only 10 points, this, that, and the other. But, I mean, the defense still looked solid. I think that Chicago wins is based off of
defense.
Yeah. I think that their offense is not enough.
Yeah. They're arguably the best defense in the league, right? I mean,
for sure.
We can definitely say that. And so, not only because they're on my fantasy team am I picking them.
Yeah.
Because I have that defense. But also, I don't see a way that, based on what we saw last week, Denver can mount any kind of an offense to get past that defense.
Yeah.
I think this game might be a bit boring.
I agree with that.
Moving right along, a game that may not be boring.
Yeah, the Sunday night matchup. The Philadelphia Eagles are going to visit the Atlanta Falcons. So, Atlanta didn't quite get the job done last week. I thought that they would look better, but honestly, Atlanta didn't look too hot last week. Only putting up 12 points. On the road against the Vikings, and Kirk Cousins is known for not beating 500 teams, and he beat them pretty comfortably. So to me, that tells me that Atlanta may not be a 500 team. I don't know if Atlanta's going to be good this year. I got to go with the Eagles. Eagles came back last week.
I've got to go with the Eagles as well. The Eagles are the one, division rival that Dallas has right now that gives me a huge amount of worry. And
yeah.
And when you even go as farther as the NFC as a whole, the Eagles are really making a lot of people sweat right now. And now, the thing about Atlanta is they can turn it on at any time. They've got Matt Ryan. He's an established quarterback. They've got some weapons that they can use. So don't be surprised if they do turn it on. But I'm also going to go with Philadelphia on this game. The last game is going to be one that I'm actually looking forward to, and I'll tell you why. It's the Cleveland Browns versus the New York Jets. I have two supervisors at work that I can't wait to see who wins this game so I can see what their interactions are going to be. Between the Cleveland Browns fan and the Jets fan, they're both used to losing. So one of them will actually have a win, and I'm happy for it.
What if they tie?
I just hope that doesn't happen. But I'm going to go with Cleveland on this. When Cleveland got an upset last week, I think that would have been a humbling match for them. They will understand that, they were coming in hot with a bunch of personalities. Now they need to really get a little more focused. With that being said, those personalities could overshadow the fact that they need to do that for a while, so we'll see there. But I still think that on a talent basis, the Browns have this one.
I have thought about this, and I'm actually going to take and switch my pick. I've been thinking about this when we saw it. I don't feel comfortable picking Cleveland again. I'm actually going to pick the Jets. I think Sam Darnold's a pretty good quarterback. I know they lost week 1 to the Bills. I think it was a fluke. I'm switching my pick. I'm picking the Jets. I think that Le'Veon might come out this week. I don't think I've seen much from Cleveland. Baker threw 3 picks, and he threw 2 touchdown passes. Unfortunately, only one of those were to his team. So,
I see where you're coming from, and you know what? That's fair, and they could get their butts kicked for all I know. But
Monday night game, it's gonna be great.
I'm really excited to see it regardless, and I'm glad that we have another one that I'm glad you changed because we have another one we disagree on. And we didn't really have that many this week.
Yeah, and this is one I could see go either way. And the Jets are at home, so I'm gonna go with home team on this one.
All right, guys, those are our picks for this week, week 2 of the NFL. If you have different picks, you have different ideas, let us know why you pick what you pick in the comment section down below. We'd be very interested to see what you have to say and love to start a conversation there. Make sure, of course, that you're subscribed to the channel so you can get our weekly updates on this, as well as other videos that we're uploading every Wednesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So make sure you check that out, hit that notification bell, and give the video a like if you enjoyed it.
Bye.